Well, hello everyone. Welcome to our podcast. Yeti
walks into base camp.
I am Yeti Legs.
And I am base camp.
And we are excited about this episode today because we have a representative all the way from Seattle, Washington, representing Therm-a-Rest.
Super stoked about this. So please welcome Brandon to our podcast.
I don't know a whole lot about you, Brandon, other than your name is Brandon Bowers and you're the product manager for Therm-a-Rest. So I'll let you elaborate.
I try and remain as mysterious as possible.
You're like the Wizard of Oz.
Perfect.
Yeah. So I've right out of college, I started working at Cascade Designs as a intern and then got hired on in the manufacturing side. So the company's been here in Seattle since 72. I've worked in most aspects of the company because we have, multiple product lines. I've been working in Therm-a-Rest mattresses on the manufacturing side since about 2004, 2005, and then in product design since 2008, 2009. Seen a lot of changes, and the evolution of sleeping in the outdoors has changed a lot over this amount of time. So let's see, myself, I have been married. Since I joined this company, I've been married, had 3 kids, moved a couple times, but it's been a pretty stable, cool place to work. And yeah, real quick for people, that's me.
Well,
Very
congratulations for being married that long. I always say congratulations because marriage is beautiful, but it takes work.
It's work.
Yeah,
It takes
so
work.
if people who stay together for a long period that long, I'm like, yes, good job.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
And you have, in my opinion, the best REI in North America there in Washington.
It is
The
pretty sweet.
flagship,
It's very
dude.
Yeah.
We were so overwhelmed when we went in there the first time.
It is.
Yeah.
They did it right because it's not, that new. It's been around for 20 plus years, and it's just still cool. Every time I walk in there, it's inspiring, and which I think is what they intended to do. They did a good job with it.
For sure.
Yeah, they really did. Well, we're avid Therm-a-Rest fans because we've had Therm-a-Rest
Thank
for,
you.
4 years, 5, I don't know, a
Mhm.
long time, like ever since we were looking for mats. I mean, Therm-a-Rest just feels like the winner.
Swear by the X-Therms.
Yeah,
That's
we
Okay.
both.
the
Good.
bread and butter, yeah.
I had the yellow one. I don't even remember what it's called. What is it?
The Neo Air?
He knows them better, the gear terms, but the Neo Air. I had that when we started the PCT,
Okay.
and then I think I got a hole in it in the Sierras and
In
so-
California, right?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
and
that's the.
typical.
I have not done it myself, but yeah, that's the danger zone is what I've heard. Like, get through California with no punctures. That's amazing.
Yep.
So.
And then
And-
you're good.
And
He
I
didn't.
think that's universal from brand to brand. Like, it's just a
Yeah.
brutal environment.
Yeah, and he didn't, and so I decided to get the X-Therm and haven't looked back since. Actually, so,
Yeah, the X-Therm does have a little bit more durable bottom material from the 30D to the 70D nylon. Yep.
which I think I need. 'Cause I'm a tosser, so I'm like probably out
Okay.
there with these
Yeah.
picky rocks, and I'm just like flailing on my mat.
Yeah, I don't know if this one came across your desk, but when my X-Therm finally failed after doing the whole PCT with it, it was so red that whenever I submitted it to the Therm-a-Rest team, they inquired like, "Why is your mat so red?" Our team has been wondering.
I haven't heard of that one.
Yeah.
It was
So
like truly
red clay
red.
dust?
Yes.
Yeah, I'd been so
Oh.
dirty, it had just been ground into the material somehow. It
Even-
stained it.
Even though he did have a mummy liner, like the whole time,
I don't
it
know
just
why.
stained it over time. I guess he had it for what, 2 years?
Yeah.
2 years.
Wow. No, I haven't
Funny.
heard that one. But it is conceivable. It's just like certain stains, right? You'd think you could get them out, but some stains you just cannot get out.
For sure.
Never.
Yeah.
Now, you mentioned Cascade Designs. For some folks who may not know, Cascade Designs is like the parent company for all these other names that people may know, like Therm-a-Rest. Would you mind explaining some of the other names that Cascade Designs covers?
Put me on the spot. Yeah.
Yep.
So MSR, of course, MSR and Cascade Designs. So Cascade Designs existed. I'm going to presume it was started really early when the brand Therm-a-Rest came about. Okay, so it's sort of the parent company to the brand Therm-a-Rest. When I started in 1998, we had Seal Line, which is a brand of dry bags and whitewater, well, mainly sea kayakers, etc. We had at the time a pole company called Trax. We have Platypus, which we had bought, I think, in the mid 90s and brought that up in a Sweetwater, which I don't believe we sell anymore. And then what else? Those were the key brands. I'm probably forgetting one. Pack Towel. We have Pack Towel that's still going strong.
I think, yeah, I have one of those still.
Yeah.
Do you?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Water filters, etc. So then in 2000, Cascade Designs bought MSR and the two merged. Interestingly, the manufacturing plants were like less than 2 city blocks away, which was convenient for working. So there was a long time when we wore the sidewalk out, going back and forth. So then of course MSR with the snowshoes, tents, stoves, hydration, and water purification. So
Now you
okay.
said
yeah, those are the brands.
You said
Nice.
Sweetwater, and that made me think of the Sweetwater Beer Company, but it's not the
Oh.
same for people. Who
No,
might
not
think
quite the
that.
same. It was a Colorado company that we bought, and then I believe when we merged with MSR, and MSR already had water filtration, the technology and everything just all went under MSR.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Okay, that's cool. That's cool.
Isn't it Stillwater Brewery, not Sweetwater?
No. Sweetwater 420 is like it's in Atlanta, Georgia.
Maybe I'm getting my
Beer
breweries mixed
company.
up. I don't know.
I'm
Well,
surprised
I
you
would
don't.
guess there's a brewery named Sweetwater somewhere. I mean,
I think so. It sounds right.
It's Sweetwater 420.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, it's in because we're from Georgia or Deep South area. So I just remember I used to go to that brewery. Anyway, random tangent.
Oh, Stillwater was the name of a tap house in Augusta. That's what I'm thinking of. Okay.
because they're well traveled.
Yeah.
There you go.
This
We're
is a great
seasoned.
segue.
Know
to
the world
drink.
by brews. Yeah.
Actually, that's what
Exactly.
we do whenever we travel. We always find
That's
a
a good
brewery.
thing.
What are the
Yeah.
flagship breweries? Yeah.
Yeah.
This is a great segue for the drink of the choice segment, by the way.
Yeah. So
Thank you for that setup.
that was a great little setup.
Oh, you're welcome.
All right. Well, I guess I can go first.
Do you want to go first?
Yeah, I am drinking the Ellie's Brown. This is by Avery Brewing here in Colorado. It's just an American brown style, and it just hits the sweet spot.
Yeah, it's not my favorite, but you like it.
It's a little bitter for you.
It's a little malty. But
Yeah.
I am drinking a Ska Brewing, which obsessed with Ska. They're probably one of my favorite breweries. And this is a blonde ale. Just very nice, little crisp, good for the like after work,
Mhm.
after a little run or joggy jog or anything like that.
Yeah, ska down in Durango. You know what else is in Durango? Farm to Summit. We
Gotta give that little plug. We love
yeah,
Farm to Summit.
We've recently stumbled upon their food. It's like vegan, vegetarian, dehydrated backpacking meals, and we love them.
Farm to Summit is so good, and they just
Yeah.
came out with a mushroom pot pie dehydrated meal, and it's not ever been on the market before with any dehydrated company. So,
Yeah.
super stoked to try that one. We haven't tried it yet, but we're
Yeah.
really excited. And they do lattes. They do oat milk lattes dehydrated. I haven't tried it yet, but
The lattes would be kind of close to your drink of the choice, Brandon.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
Brandon,
Yeah.
tell us your drink of the choice.
My drink of choice is 2 or 3 shots of coffee with a little bit of water and half.
So
And
great.
I
love it.
probably drank 3 of those today. So
Nice. So you go for the shots, not like the pour over or the French press.
when possible, yeah. But I'll drink any coffee if that's all, if all I can have is drip, then so be it.
Okay, so whatever is presented
Mm.
to you, you will drink
Yeah.
it as long as it's
Yeah.
coffee.
How do you feel
Caffeine
about
addict.
how do you feel about dehydrated coffee? Instant
If that's
coffee.
all there is, like I mean, there's something about a trail that makes food taste really good, and I
Oh,
would
yeah.
say that's
Mhm.
when I'm using those, and they're remarkably good on the trail. So heck yeah.
Do it.
Absolutely.
Even with no milk, right? Just
Yes.
pure coffee, you're like, oh, this tastes so good.
Black coffee on
Oh, yeah.
trail hits the spot right.
And to that, we've tried a lot of instant coffees in our days backpacking, and we found that Juan Valdez We've only ever seen it in like small glass bottles, but it seems to be the
Really?
smoothest. Yeah, we love it.
Amazing. Yeah, it's
And
very
it's not
smooth.
in the little packets anymore because that's become all the rage, right? It's just in
No.
little. Is it glass or plastic that you buy?
Glass.
It's glass, so we
Okay.
just put it in a Ziploc and
Yeah,
take it.
that's
But
okay. I'm gonna
it's
try it.
amazing. Yeah, you
Yeah.
should.
I'm gonna try
It's our favorite for sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's hard to find on trail, but when you find it, you're like, gold mine.
Yeah, it is.
Okay. So if coffee is a key for you, what you must have a go-to way to heat the water, or not? Does that change depending on the trip?
Great question.
No, we always have hot coffee. Hot coffee is
Okay.
mandatory.
You only get certain luxuries out there, and that is one of
Right.
our luxuries is hot coffee. So we definitely don't. We have the MSR. I have the MSR Pocket Rocket.
You have the pocket rocket
The
too.
Pocket Rocket
Okay.
too. Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
And man, yeah, we heat water. We will even if we're dry camping, we will take enough water for hot coffee in the morning.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I get
feel
it.
like the three luxuries are hot coffee, hot food, and a pillow.
Ah,
A
okay.
pillow?
I would say a pillow.
You think
is,
that's a luxury item?
I feel like it is because that's like 3 extra ounces that some people would just use their puffy in place of or something.
Well, I guess if you're ultra light person, then maybe you
Yeah.
sacrifice. I would never sacrifice my pillow.
Oh, it's not. It's a necessity. It's not a
It
luxury
is.
for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I've become that way in my older years. I used to just use it was sort of like no pillow to bringing just a pillowcase, the little camp pillowcase. It weighs like half an ounce. And then the air pillows. Being in the industry, I wouldn't ever use air pillows until about 2015. And there were probably some competitor products that were similar, but when we stacked the foam on air, I became a believer. And they're so small, so usually that's what I'm bringing. Are you guys bringing air pillows? And you're talking to a development person, so I take over the conversation.
No,
this is
please.
great,
Now you
though.
camp.
Listen, this is great because we have so many thru hikers and hikers that listen to this podcast, and
Okay.
they all
Okay.
want to know the same stuff too, and they want to hear these questions. Like, this is great. So
Yeah.
us just riffing, like, this is perfect. What do you have right now?
Yeah, so I've gone through a pretty big progression here. We still, in cold weather, we have a Therm-a-Rest. I don't remember the name of the model, but it has a case that comes with it, a liner or a pillowcase, and it's got like a few millimeters of padding on the portion where you would put your head.
And it's like 6 ounces. We do a lot of winter backpacking, especially living in Colorado. But
Good for you.
Season,
That's fun.
yeah, 4-season tent snowshoes, the whole shebang. We love it. But so the Therm-a-Rest pillows, those pillows are
Yeah.
solid because they're like a thicker kind of texture,
Mhm.
and so they're very warm. But for actually through hiking,
For through hiking, I use an X-Bed. It's just an air pillow, no insulation at all, and then I'll wear like a neck gaiter or a buff, and I'll just put that on it as a pillowcase.
I don't have one right now, so I need another one because my
So you
other
had-
one.
You
What
had,
happened
you had
to
a
it?
big Agnes, and
I did. It was teeny tiny.
it got washed one too many times.
I don't
Just
remember.
pure. Was the Big Agnes just pure air, or did
Yeah.
it have a topper?
Just pure air.
It was pure air.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay,
And I
yeah.
actually didn't mind it when I was on trail. It was fine. And honestly, having less weight was, better at that point. I was trying to figure out how do I shave weight. So air pillows for sure are
Mhm.
probably going to be my go-to anytime I do it through, for sure.
And I think it's really the level of stretchiness that the fabric used on most air pillows. It really, I'll say it. It's really the developers of fabric, which is mainly like in Taiwan and whatnot, that really cracked that nut. I think that make it possible, because we were using not as stretchy fabric, and you'd be like, it's an air pillow, it should be comfortable. Well, it takes about 5 minutes and it would feel like a rock until, again, this like last 10 years. So that's cool.
Well, thanks, Taiwan. I
Yeah,
appreciate
yeah.
that.
Not only Taiwan, but yeah, they're the first that comes to mind.
First, yeah.
So
Yeah.
That's so great.
And actually, after the PCT, that's whenever you had your pillow malfunction, and we were stuck in Florida, and we only had like a few like game and hunting shops around us. So we went
Oh.
pillow shopping, and we ended up getting a Therm-a-Rest. It's got like mushroom designs on it,
Yeah.
but it's not an
yeah,
air
the
pillow
fun guy,
at all.
Fun guy.
Yeah.
No, it's
yeah.
it's a foam pad. Yeah, foam
Yeah.
pillow.
Yeah. And
Yep.
I think I ended up using your pillow and you used that one.
Yeah, but we took it overseas and hiked the Tour de Mont Blanc with it.
We did.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. We backpacked
great.
across Europe with that pillow. So.
Yeah.
It's
it
a
was
little
great.
more bulky, but it gives you more of a real pillow feel. Like it's got more support. So
You get the incline when you rest your head instead of like the square.
okay.
Which I think
Yeah.
I prefer. I just like my comfort in sleep, you
Yeah.
know, because sleep is so important out there. So I don't know. I like my comfort light.
Yeah.
So here's a question to you guys, since you have spent a ton of time out there, and I've spent as much time probably just thinking about this, for my job. Are there times when you two want, individual or both, when part of the experience is to be outside at night? Are there ever times when you just crave to be like, I wish I was in my tent right now? Because it's something that I've found interesting. I'm like, most people don't say, I want to go sleep, at location XYZ. It's usually to see it in the day. What do you think of it when I say that?
That's hilarious because on the PCT, we were so tired that we would just be in our tent at night. And so having a nice tent was actually like so great to have. We had a Nemo Dagger 3 person
Mhm.
on the PCT for most of it. And we just crash at night. By the time we got into camp, we'd crash because, you're doing like 25 miles a day and you're just so tired. Some people seem to like being outside and doing it, but I think once you just get in your sleeping bag, you're like, okay, I'm done.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
but
absolutely.
I think almost on a nightly basis, I would think to myself, wow, I'm sure it's beautiful and I can see the stars and it's stunning, but I am too damn tired to get out of the tent.
Yeah.
And so I wouldn't.
Right. Well,
yeah.
it's one of those things that most sleep gear and the sexiness of sleep gear isn't really there, because it's not necessarily helping you. It does peripherally help you achieve something, but it's indirect. And so I've just found it interesting over the years how a lot of people generally don't care, right? Because I don't care what color my sleeping pad is; it just needs to function.
Yeah.
But just questions like that always fascinate me.
I will say we've changed our tent up quite a bit, and now we're like a pound and change tent.
It's a
And
Z-Pack, yeah.
it is.
Oh wow. Okay.
It's not inviting or welcoming. However, we still have a sleep system that we look forward to getting into at the end of the day.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
we try to find comfort in sleep. So the Therm-a-Rest X-Therm is just so comfortable. And then the sleeping bags we have are comfortable. The pillows we have are comfortable. And so I always told him, I was like, I want to feel comfort when I'm slipping into my sleeping bag
Mhm.
and going to sleep in the backcountry. That was just always a priority for me. I will say something, and I don't even know if this is ever something that could happen, but because you are sitting in your tent so much at night before you go to bed, and you don't want to walk or stand anymore. And it's already dark and it's cold. And so you want to get in your sleeping bag. And so if there's a way to prop a back up in a lightweight way, like I was like, man, I think they've got stuff like that now out, but I haven't explored it yet.
There's got to be like a seat with like a seat and then a back, and the back is connected to the seat, and you prop yourself up with the weight of your own body sitting in the seat. There has to be something like that, right?
Well, for the longest time, we had what were called the chair kits, and those, when I started at the company in the late 90s, were kind of the rage. They weren't necessarily designed for reclining. It was really, you would use your mattress as the cushion, and it captured it. The reason it didn't fall back is that you had to sit on the one side, and it has straps in between. And we still sell a product like this, although the popularity of them has really waned. But to recline, that's a tough nut to crack, to keep it lightweight. But I get it. Like anyone who I'm fascinated by anyone who can read for long periods of time on their back, because I'm just like, I hate holding my book
Yeah.
like this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or if we're playing a game or something, or
Oh,
just
yeah.
chilling,
Yeah.
it's like, oh man, I wish I had a backrest. But If
Or
someone
you're
made it,
on your elbow and all of a sudden
yeah,
your shoulder's like locked up. You're like,
Yeah.
oh.
cramping. Yeah. So
Plenty of times.
if someone made that, I would be the first to buy it, and I would pack it out 100% to keep my back in a good space versus slumping over in the tent,
Yeah.
But that's my one piece, I think, being in the tent.
Yeah, we can talk later about. I could tell you how to try and make one. You could try it.
Please, I would love that.
We've been talking to all these gear engineers lately.
We have.
This
We've
is
been
exciting.
Yeah, we've been interviewing. We got Canuck on and Sawyer, and just really trying to give more information for people out there for hiking and through hiking. Because
Cool.
I just feel like a lot of people don't. They're looking and they're trying to figure out what to use and what works. And so everyone we're interviewing is because we love their products and we believe in them. We've tested them through a lot of miles and hard places and hard terrains. And so, we're so glad that, you took the time to do this with us.
Yeah.
Glad
we
to.
should-
I mean, there's a reason I would say 9 to 10 employees in the outdoor industry is there for a reason. It wasn't by chance. So yeah, we're passionate about gear and what we do, and I would say most companies are, same. They're like, they got into it because of interest. So
I love that. Yeah.
For sure. And I will say that we are not paid or
No.
funded or anything by Therm-a-Rest. I just feel like I always need to say that for these companies that we interview.
Fair
People
enough,
know
yeah.
that we're
Yeah.
not doing this because we're paid. Yeah, we genuinely love them. They're passionate about it.
Yeah,
but-
this is just pure interest and passion.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I guess let's get into our questions, and we can also riff as we go, like in the questions, Brandon. So if you even have a question for us in the middle of the questions, cool.
If you want to rabbit hole,
we
do
can
it.
rabbit hole. Do you want to switch it up, and I take odds and you take evens, or?
Yeah, you take odds.
Okay, I always take evens and he takes odds. But okay, so I was just curious. You did mention that you've been on trail, and we would love to know, what is your backpacking and your outdoor experience? What have you done? What are your favorite trails that you've done?
part of my life in the past 10 years has been much, much less for outdoors world. So in fact, this part, I'm like, oh, I'm not going to sound so great to your crew now.
I know you've probably done stuff though, so you
So
can
mainly
tell us.
for us in Seattle, I've mainly toured the I-90 corridor, and I really haven't got to go on long trips much. So I've done more like weekend trips and day hikes over the past 20 years. So that's really my experience. Yeah, unfortunately.
That's okay. That's actually a lot of people who listen. And before we ever did the PCT, we did like years of weekend backpacking trips. And I think they're so helpful to know from
Mhm.
other people, because a lot of people, that's what they do. I mean, we can't
Right.
go and do a through hike right now. So we do weekends too. So
Yeah.
is there a specific trail in the Seattle area that you love?
That's a good one. The north for me, going north of I-90, because it's quick for us in Seattle just to go 90. So I would say the North Cascades is always exciting, and I haven't got to explore near as much as I would like to. So let's see, I got to do a summit with some other folks a couple years back. I'll have to tell you the name of the mountain. I'm forgetting now, but So North Cascades would be a great place to go and discover. There's so much up there. That's what's still fascinating for anyone who's not in Washington. There are so many peaks and places to go in Washington. It's not understood, I think, until you're here and people realize. In fact, one of my coworkers is still exploring the peninsula, and he's been places no one has been before, because it's just one other aspect of Washington that's 3 hours away. Yeah. I mean, the whole Olympics on the coast is harder to get to, and just all kinds of places to go. With scouts, actually, for some reason, those folks wanted to drive the extra 2 hours, which was good for me. I'm like, okay, let's go to Marmot Pass, and there's like a plane wreck out there that you can go see. So stuff like that is so cool.
Interesting.
That's so funny you say the North Cascades because we are obsessed with the Cascades.
Okay.
And of course it's on the PCT, but when we got engaged on Rainier, we were going to go to the Cascades and do a trail around there, but we couldn't get a permit. And so the PCT was so special to us because we could finally go through the Cascades. But it was really bad fires when we hit, and so we were in a really bad situation with the fires, but it was still magical and beautiful. And we were just talking about this the other day. I asked him, I said, what's your, if you could put a name to a mountain range that you love in the country, what is it? And you said
the Cascades. One of our favorite stretches on the entire PCT was the Goat Rocks Wilderness area, right by the Knife's Edge. We loved it.
It was so magical. Yeah. Goat Rocks Wilderness was probably the best spot on the entire trail.
Have you ever done any of the Wonderland Trail or done any hiking in Olympic?
I have. My brother and I spent 2 or 3 nights in the Olympic National Forest, more north entrance. It's just so much to see, right? My wife and I gravitate to the water a lot too, so lots of coastal trips where we're not necessarily hiking, but there is some hike-in trails up north of, I believe it's Forks in La Push, that we love going to. First, second, third beach in near Rialto Beach. So that's the Olympics. And then you asked about what else? I'm sorry. The Wonderland.
The Wonderland, yeah.
The Wonderland. I've only done some aspects of that, but I still need to make more. For instance, the sunrise on Rainier to see the sun come up. I actually have not done that yet, so that's on my bucket list. So
it's pretty magical. That's when he proposed to me. Actually, was the sunrise on Rainier, which he did great.
She was eating oatmeal.
I was. I had a mouthful of oatmeal when he did it.
Yeah.
I was like, "You're doing this right now."
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
But and Olympic is definitely on our bucket list. We haven't done it yet or gone through there.
Yeah,
for sure.
I have one other question kind of related to hiking because we were experiencing this in Washington. You've lived in Washington for how long?
Oh, most of my life, yeah.
Most of your life. Have you noticed a frequency and an increase in intensity of wildfires in Washington since living there?
Oh, definitely, yeah. The past 5 to 7 years has been significantly higher. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
okay.
That's so sad.
It's not something I study, but
he does.
Yeah. Well, I'm just curious because I can look at information all day, but to hear it firsthand from someone who's lived there most of their life, that's a little bit more impactful for me than just looking at data.
So I'm 50 it could have happened in my first 15 years, right? Where you're young enough that you just don't pay attention to stuff like smoke in the air. But we didn't have smoke in the air for years until the last maybe 5 years. And now it's happening, a little bit in the Seattle area almost every summer. And what was it, 2 or 3 years back, we had some pretty significant air quality problems. So now sometimes that's not necessary. It can still come in outside of Washington, but just as far as in general for the United States, I mean, it wasn't even a problem. Same for planning, right? It wasn't a concern that you could get skunked on a plan because of wildfires, or if it was not it was a rare issue, but now it's something you have to factor in.
Yeah, we're pretty passionate about this. Well, I guess he's always been passionate about this because this is his field, but I wasn't environmentally. I was aware, but I hadn't experienced something, on a level where it was like, oh my gosh, the earth really is the fires are bad. And everything's heating up and global warming is real. And, but when we were on the trail, we literally were only 30 miles from the border, from the terminus, 6 months of work. And we see 6 fires surrounding, we start hearing there's 6 fires surrounding the terminus. And we did luckily get there. The morning I was panicking because there's just fires blowing up around us and you can't get, It was scary. You can't get out of the trail. You're 30 miles from a road, or you have to go into Canada, 8 miles to a town. And I just remember panicking. I was like, we're not going to make it. And we did make it the next morning. And then we got back up out of the trail to hike back to the road, the connecting road. And all of a sudden, the fires had completely quadrupled, and the rangers were coming in to shut the trail down. And these hikers, we ran into so many hikers that we knew, and we had to tell them that the trail was closed. Like, you can't get in now because it's dangerous, and they don't know where these fires are going to go. And it was the park fire and the kid fire were two really big ones that they were looking at. But it all of a sudden changed everything for me. And I was like, people need to know what is happening. Like, how do we communicate and help people see what is happening in nature?
Yeah.
You know, and I don't know. Anyway, I can go on a huge long tangent.
Well, I feel like people have been trying to communicate that for a while, but unless you're like directly affected by it or you experience it, it doesn't mean much to you. And like coming from Georgia, we heard, oh, you know, the West is burning more, it's drier. But we lived in like damp, wet forest areas. We got at least one rainstorm a week, it felt like. So it wasn't meaningful until we were caught in it and like, oh, well, I guess everything that we've been hearing is actually factual, and it's scary and it's intense. So
Yeah.
And there's a lot that goes into it as well, from the, you know, us using up more and more water.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Not understanding or being, I mean, there's a lot, it's a culmination of bad things, and how do you put the brakes on it is the question. And that's the hard one.
Yeah.
I know. That's what we've been trying to figure out for us too, as well. Like, how do we, like, we can try to make the small imprint on what we have and what we do. And that's also what we're trying to do with the podcast, is how do we get that out to people too? Like, what can we all be doing to help the environment in our small ways? And even in hiking, what are things we can do? And the leave no trace and protecting the environment, you know?
I've got two great first suggestions. Don't buy paper towels and use less toilet paper. To all the listeners, if you do those two things, you're reducing the amount of trees being cut down for those products. Therefore increasing, or at least maintaining, our carbon storage. So it's not like going up into the ozone and making the planet hotter.
There you go.
Paper towels. Just use rags.
Yeah.
I had to convince her after we got married to start using rags.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, I did.
You did not have to convince me.
Uh-huh.
I think that. Okay, yes, we do use reusable rags, and it's weird to use paper towels now. And now any of the people I know that use paper towels, I'm like, you're using paper towels. But yes, I don't remember us having I don't remember you having to convince. I guess maybe you did, because I was so used to it. I don't know. Anyway.
I convinced her so well she didn't even know it.
See, I totally forgot, because now all I use are towels.
How long have you been married?
4. We're coming up on 4?
Coming up on 4 years,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
I know. We're still babies.
Yeah, we got married at 30. We were both 32. We'd only known each other for about 6 months.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
In your 30s, you've been through the game enough to know what you want and don't want. So
yeah, well, it's working. That's great.
Yeah.
And let's hit the ground running with some more questions.
Your turn.
Yeah. Okay. So Brandon, as a product manager at Therm-a-Rest, what exactly does your day-to-day look like?
Let's see. One of the words that we use a lot is strategy. So product line managers are trying to think about what a year to 4 years out, and looking at what's happening now, what needs to happen from the market, your products. Product line managers, I would say you could sort of cut it right in half, and there's companies that are detached from the manufacturing of their products, so they work with the manufacturers, but it's not part of their company. So it becomes more of business partners in a way. So at Cascade for mattresses, we do our manufacturing, so it's internal partners, which is a different relationship. So the reason I bring that up is when you have a product line manager at our company, you get to manage day-to-day challenges and how a product evolves, such as X-Lite or X-Therm, along with the future development. So they're is not a lot of dull moments at Cascade Designs for product line managers. And so we work, we sort of have an annual cycle for new products. So we're usually somewhere along that cycle of developing ideas, getting them to certain stages of like prototype testing to commercial readiness, ready for sales introduction, and then ready for production. So we're kind of constantly always doing that, and along with the maintaining existing stuff. And then the third piece of the pie is there's usually some third group of like a new legislation or new demands from the market that you're incorporating, such as in 2020 updating everything for R value, for instance, a new R value method. The latest thing currently is the PFAS, removing PFAS from camping gear and wearables. So usually what you're doing is you're strategizing with your supply chain, with your partners, and it usually falls in line with that, that yearly cadence. But not always. Sometimes you're like, oh, we got to hurry up and do this, or this one isn't. We don't need to advertise what's happening here. We just need to do it. So then it's what we call a running change. Yeah, there's, if someone gets into the industry, there's never a dull moment, I would say, for product line managers in the outdoor world.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome because it's always changing. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you want to talk a little bit on how P65 has affected Therm-a-Rest?
That really hit us more. So Prop 65 is what you're talking about, the California Act for just materials that a company sells, having a very trace amounts of tons of different materials. You have to call it out, and it's mainly carcinogenic. So I would say that kind of came in two stages. We became compliant, I want to say, in the early teens. And what we had to do is identify those products. And we had lab people we can't conduct those tests. Those tests you need to send out, make sure that you're compliant or not. And then in some cases where you're not, make the judgment if that's okay to the end consumer, and then label your products as such. And the labels, of course, have to meet compliance. You can't just, scrawl on there with a pencil. And I would say that is an unglorified part of selling anything in the world, is that compliance with regulations, that anyone who loves that, you will never want for a job. Just, be tolerable to work with. And if you say, I love compliance, like, hire that person.
For anyone who's listening to the podcast, and if you really want to get into outdoor gear brands, say, I love compliance.
Yep.
You're the person, if you say, I wonder if that font is correct on your bed tag label, like, you would be good in compliance. So,
You are not speaking to any of those individuals.
Well, no, I have to be very detailed at my job.
You check the fonts on everything?
I do have to check the fonts on everything. Like, everything has to be universal. Yeah, like if I'm doing an email on a specific thing and then I copy and paste, like making sure it's universal into that, because I'm OCD about very specific looking things. They have to look pretty.
The consistent. You don't want it to stand out.
Yeah, it's got to look pretty. It's got to look clean and efficient. Yeah.
She's the producer in film, so she's kind of a logistics queen.
Wow, great.
Yeah, so compliance, I guess, would be a part of what I do in my job.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Okay, yeah, I think so. And anyway, it's one aspect of the world.
Okay.
Yeah.
We live in a nation of red tape, don't we?
We do.
I feel like it.
But I will say, though, the thing that just legally, the legislation that just changed, because we work with gear brand companies in our company in film, but like they're having to change stuff over too. And I know this is a big thing. Like, it's a lot of gear brands that are like, okay, we got to change a lot of stuff right now through.
Oh, for the PFAS stuff? Is that what you're speaking to directly?
Yeah, that. Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's it honestly, it is fascinating. I think that could grab a bigger audience, even though it, on some level, feels a little bit back office, kind of geeky, weird. But it's huge when you think of, well, it's fun just to think of anything you have, like this phone. Like, when did the plastic for this phone like actually get made into pellets? You make plastic into pellets and then it gets injection molded, for instance. How many years before this phone was a phone did it, get touched? Maybe it was months, but sometimes it's years. And then when the PFAS change hit, I mean, we've been working on it for a year and a half, and we're not going to be through it still for another year or two. Yeah, it's a juggernaut from cradle to grave of your product and sourcing materials. And yeah, you cannot change on a dime. Nobody can.
Yeah, we feel like it's going to be a game changer for a lot of this stuff, but we want to like incorporate how to environmental
Right.
friendly products, and how do we help advocate for that too, and keep
Yep.
that in the in the sight of, oh, hey, like these products are changing and they're wanting this too, and
Yeah.
we're all kind of in this space together right now, and
Yeah, and
yeah.
we spoke to Canuck, and a lot of their materials are made out of TPU, which is
Okay. Yep.
thermopolyurethane, I believe is it what it is?
Yep. Yep.
That's right.
You're right.
Okay. And they were talking about how they, I mean, they deal in plastics, so it's kind of hard to hit carbon neutral in a company that manufactures plastics. But they were talking about how they can pay X number of their proceeds out to these green companies or these nonprofits, and that kind of gets them towards that carbon neutral zone. Is that something that Therm-a-Rest or Cascade is working on as well, or are you just trying to do it all internally?
I'll be honest, I don't know of where we stand on that. One of the things that we've done recently is looking at just how to reduce, looking at sort of what's the biggest bang for our buck we can do and what we can bite off at once. So for us, it hasn't been the using the urethane right now. That is, yeah, I guess we don't have an answer for it. We have to use it for the longevity and the creation of an air bladder. And by the way, that is a fabulous, like, hard question. Like, how do you not use plastics to achieve the same thing? Or, and then, okay, well, what would be an acceptable replacement if you're not making an air bladder? Anyhow, recently what we're rolling out is a fabric that creates less wastewater and uses less energy. So we're moving to a solution dyed product, and that's where we've been focusing the last year on. So, and the concept has been out there for a little bit, but as we were talking about it, for your supply chain, it has all these new challenges, and it puts you into a different supply chain for your product. And like most companies in outdoor world using fabrics, usually you have anywhere from a dozen to 100 types of fabrics you use. So then you can't do all of them at once. So this is one more aspect. What's a change we can make that legitimately saves energy and reduces waste, and that has a path that, as far as we know, isn't going to change in the future. And so the solution dyed method was out there. And I think the one thing I would say to your listenership is, yeah, more is going to come. Like, we would all be silly to say that in 3 years there's not going to be a new recognition of something we do that's more harmful than we ever thought, and we need to change. So thinking about what we do, you're absolutely right. How do we do things smarter and better? And the more we talk about it, the more chance we have to improve.
That's not a loaded question. I'm sincerely just like curious. Like, what do we do?
Yeah. We
Yeah.
keep asking it all the time. We
No,
love
it's
hearing from
true.
people, because
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, part of manufacturing anything, and I think what I've been a part of this industry for 25 years.
Mhm.
Developing new products does take extra energy, and it does create some amount of waste to, you come up with a concept, you have to destroy some of it to test it, and you're like, oh, isn't there a better way?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't have an answer for that, but I definitely recognize that challenge. In fact, we are moving facilities right now, and I'm going through a number of boxes of test product. So our employees are getting to have test product given to them, because I'm like, well, we didn't want to get rid of them. We don't want to throw them away, but we can't sell them.
Yeah.
And it's just one of
Amazing.
those hard things.
Yeah,
So,
for
and
sure.
that if you're not manufacturing, you aren't. Whoever is manufacturing for you has that challenge too. You just don't see it. You just don't see that. I have seen laminating machines for fabric start up, and there's a certain amount of plastic that just gets wasted. And some of those companies are trying to recycle that material rather than just throw it away. So there's a lot of people doing a lot of good things, and I think learning to tell our stories better will help.
Yeah.
I love what you just said. Learning to
Yeah.
tell our stories better and not being ashamed either. Like I feel like
Yeah.
we were saying that, the shame is kind of leaving the table now in the world. We feel like, as we've been talking with people, it's like we're just owning it now and saying, okay, we're accepting and seeing this is what's happening, and now we need a solution. Like now we need to figure out how we pivot or go through, instead of shaming people and guilting people into like, oh, you should be doing this. Like it's more
Yeah.
like, okay, we're all a part of this world and we all contribute. So how do we help our planet that has
Yeah.
given so much to us, and what are those little things we can do? And that's what you were just saying, it's going to take years just to turn that ship around or turn it into a different direction. And and at least we're starting, at least we're trying.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, what's so commended.
I think leave the negativity to the internet trolls who hide behind avatar photos and just naysay and shame people.
Yeah.
Seriously.
I thought you went to avatar photos. Okay.
We've seen a few trollers that have
Really?
avatar
Recently?
photos. Yeah, they won't even show their face and stuff. But they're mean, and you're like, whoa.
No, I've gotten to the point where I just automatically just block them.
Block
like
'em.
negativity, block.
Done.
And I do want to be clear. We're realists. We're not like, we don't see everything with a positive lens. Like, because if you see everything completely positively, no change will happen.
Yeah.
It just won't.
Yeah.
But yeah, we could talk about this all day.
I know.
But we're here to talk about Therm-a-Rest.
Okay.
And so you're talking about these different fabrics and methods to dye these fabrics. Our husky's pulling on my sleeve right now.
Oh, here she go. This is where she. Hey, Loba. Hang on one second. Hey, sweet girl.
Loca?
Loba.
Loba. I mean
Loba.
she-wolf.
I mean,
Loba.
she-wolf. She's a husky.
She-wolf. I was going to say, yeah.
I'm gonna grab a treat. Hang on one second.
Sorry about
She's
that.
starting to try to grab our attention, which means that she wants to play. We've
Oh,
only had her 3 months. We adopted her, so she's like still in this stage of
puppy.
attention puppy. Yes.
All right, so you're talking about a new solution for dyeing your fabrics. Whenever I think of Therm-a-Rest, I think of your mattresses, your pads, your mats, whatever you would like to call them. But I know that Therm-a-Rest offers a lot of other products. Before we get deep into the sleeping pad, I wanna talk about and ask you what other products Therm-a-Rest offers, because I know you offer ponchos and they look extremely comfortable.
Yeah, those ponchos are really fun. They're handy to have. Check them out. If the coolest, I mean, it's a simple thing. It's not rocket science that they fold into themselves. So leave them in your car, or you can take them with you camping. It's just they pack nicely, and then when you need them, there they are. They're more warm than you'd ever think. I think we've had those ponchos for about 10 years and then evolved them. Sleeping bags. So we started out with sleeping bags. I believe it was 2012, 2014, and have slowly been building our name. We're known for mattresses, so we've slowly been building our credibility with sleeping bags. Have some really great, anywhere from extreme cold weather. We have a Polar Ranger which is a -20 bag. That's way cool. You can sleep in the Arctic with that, to a 45-degree ultralight. So we have a number of products. I'm not the expert on sleeping bags. That's another person. So sleeping bags, and then a line of blankets and pillows. As you mentioned, we have both air pillows, which we're using with our welding and coated fabric technology to make those air bladders super light and technical. Um, and then our compressible pillows, which really came about when we started die punching foam for mattresses. So we're reusing the foam as we cut out pieces from it to make the mattress foam lighter, reuse that foam and put it in pillows to make our compressible cinch pillows. Those have been around since 2005, I think. So that's a cool upcycle story. The cool thing with open cell foam is it can be used in carpet pads. So it's all recycled if we can't use all of it. But the fact that we're able to, put it right in a product and have sort of a symbiotic relationship there is cool. Pillows, blankets, of course, we have some really cool travel blankets that are much warmer than you'd think in packs similar to the poncho. I think I covered it all. Yeah.
Nice.
That feels pretty exhaustive. Yeah.
That's why I said I'm
Awesome, though.
mattresses. I don't do the other stuff so much.
Yeah.
I just
Do you wanna talk on those mattresses? I think that's a
Yeah, I
good
was gonna say
segue.
this is a good segue because like I'm so glad you put the names on there. Thank you. The through hiking world. I mean, on trail, like Therm-a-Rest was the king of the mountain. Like, I mean, so you've got your X-Therm, the Neo X-Therm, the X-Lite, and the Uber Light. So we already kind of touched on this, the creating the new models with new materials.
We haven't talked about the transition because you had an
Okay,
older
well, let's-
model, which everyone claimed was super
knows best.
noisy, which I don't think it was.
right,
and
right,
and then you changed your material. It's supposed to be less chip baggy.
right.
Yeah, just talk about the change to that material and what it changed.
And the process too, I think, of like, were you hearing people talking about it? Were you getting complaints from people? Like, what was the process from beginning to now?
Oh boy.
Is that
Yeah,
a big
that's a good
long
one.
rabbit hole?
Well, it's not really a rabbit hole, but it was honestly 3 VPs of Therm-a-Rest in the making. So we knew our products were loud back in 2015. The unique design of the product, the design, I'll say, corners we painted ourselves in made it very challenging to address that noise. And a designer who actually moved on and is working with Stanley right now, she cracked that nut with some shifting around of materials, development of some new fabrics. It was just an evolution, but finally a lot of hard work and just toying with the product and how we could change it up, still maintain that high R value for lightweight, use the existing equipment we've invested in, but get it quieter. So it really was years in the making, but I give credit to that person. I don't know if she wants me to name her, but she did a great job. But she put in a good solid year of her life, blood, sweat, and tears. And the cool thing is, I mean, if you think about it, if you want to sell a car, you go, well, how much room does it have? How much horsepower does it have? We don't think about this. We just know that car companies measure themselves and sell themselves on those things. So if you want to solve a problem like a mattress being quiet or noisy, how do you measure that, right? So just even that question was a head scratcher all along. And then it's not only, okay, so it's noisy, how do we measure it? But what is causing the noise? How do we break that down? It's one of those things that I lived through that I have a totally different appreciation for. So knowing that no one in their right mind ever said, it'll blow over, they're not that loud. No, we knew it was a problem,
I mean, I've slept
Wow.
on louder sleeping pads
Honestly,
before.
yeah, we have. It's true.
And I won't do any name drops, but
And I will say there is the outdoor, and I'm curious to hear your opinion on this. The outdoor industry in general, I would say, is very grassroots oriented in that anyone in the industry is really using the products. They're not, there's not many posers in the outdoor industry. So marketing and just telling a story is usually, it has to carry some truth with it for it to take hold. And I would say, the market side of the outdoor industry there were brands calling attention to this, and there was truth in it. So it definitely happened that way. But in all, I guess I just bring up the market side because it was an interesting story that at times it just was flooding us, and for years it wasn't flooding us. So it's interesting. It's an interesting story in that regard too. Do you agree with me on the market side of the outdoor world?
Can you say more about your question on that? What is the
Yeah, the
like?
gimmicks tend to not fly in the outdoor
Oh,
world
yes,
because
yes.
people really use it. They don't buy something and say, "Hey, I have the latest, greatest, blah blah blah." Well, if it's a piece of garbage, eventually it will tell on itself, right?
100%. If it
Right.
breaks down within a week or two, it doesn't stand up. And
Right.
then you start telling all your friends that hike and outdoors,
That's
and
what
then
I
all
mean.
of
I
a
mean,
sudden
it's
it
the
gets
strongest
around.
market. You guys are
Yeah.
part of the outdoor market, which I don't know. It's interesting. I do think like over 25 years of working here, I would say the marketing of outdoor is a cool part of the industry, and in some ways it gets tangled up though in the like if you say, oh, he's a marketer, that there is like, oh, you're misleading stuff, or that industry tends to like yarn stories, and it's not really true in the outdoor world in general, or you don't succeed. It's interesting because you guys are part of the market, and it's a very true part of it. You are telling brands what they're succeeding at. Yeah,
And telling them where they're not succeeding either. We'll be like, I don't like that. Like it
but it
doesn't
gets
work.
heard.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hopefully it does. Yeah.
yeah. So I will say, I think in the outdoor gear industry, we're becoming more and more inundated with options, and those options that I listen to are really personal anecdotes from people that we know, and people that we know who maybe we don't know them in person, but we know that they've been hiking for a long time. So I tend to listen to personal anecdotes, and I look more at cottage companies for authenticity because in my mind, and I know that this isn't always true, they're making it by hand, like they're sewing it themselves, or they're in a house or a small building making it. It's not like being shipped and imported and made in Mexico or overseas or however you want to look at it. But at the same time, there are pieces of gear that I think are irreplaceable. And I think that the Therm-a-Rest pads would be one of those pieces. Doesn't matter how big Therm-a-Rest or Cascade gets, I'm still going to continue to use the X-Therm because I get a good night's sleep on a trail with it. And, I had to troubleshoot with that because I went through a lot of different inflatable mats before. And when I finally landed on Therm-a-Rest, I was like, this is the money.
Yeah. Yeah. We actually have he created a gear list where people can just plug and play whatever they want. And it has links to all of his favorite pieces of gear that people
cool.
can find.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cause he's a gear junkie and researched the shit out of
Yeah.
before the PCT, my job was resupply towns and making I broke down all our miles and
Oh, okay.
water sources, and he did all the gear research, what is the best. So we dialed it in before we got on trail, and honestly, all the gear we took was what we used. There was hardly anything we changed out. And so I think that it definitely is you start seeing on trail too what people have, and you're like, oh, why do you have that, and what do you like about it? And so I think that's a big piece too of when you're hiking or out camping or car camping even, what is good and helpful. And I think the X-Therm, I've also tried a lot. I've tried other mats too, but what I love about the X-Therm is it's small, it's packable, it's easy to pull out and inflate, it's easy to tear down and pack. And that is such a big
Yeah.
huge piece of hiking, especially through hiking, that you need that piece of just, you don't want to have to like deal with all your gear when you're ready to get out and hike for the
Yeah.
day. And so that's something I love about the Therm-a-Rest. But
Yeah. I'll be honest. I'm afraid to use the Uber Light because I'm rough with my gear,
he's very
and I just know I would pop it because it's so fragile.
Fair enough. Yep.
Yeah.
It is made for a unique crowd, and it's not, the fabric on that is 2 ounces, so it is significantly lighter, and it's
Which is
about as light
huge.
as we could ever go.
Yeah.
That's so big though. When you're out there, you're just like, you want that weight, but you want that comfort at the same time.
Yeah.
Will you explain to people who don't know R value? Can you explain what R value is?
Sure. R value essentially is a measurement of heat travel across a hot and cold like area. So where you're going to see R value most often is if you walk into a Home Depot or a Lowe's and you have wall insulation that's rated by R value. And I'm going to look at, well, I'm not going to measure, but R value, it has a unit of measure, sort of like miles per hour. R value has a unit of measure, and it's about how heat travels. The higher the number, the R value, the slower the heat is able to travel through a material, which is good. And so when we talk about sleep mattresses, their measured R value is taken just as we speak, a hot plate and a cold plate that are measured by electricity going through them to remain hot and cold. So you're like, oh, it takes X amount of energy to keep this hot, X amount of energy to keep this cold. You put your test specimen in there, and then you can monitor how that power, I guess it would be, increases for the hot plate to stay hot. And through science, they come up with this R value. So that's essentially what now, since 2020, any reputable company is going to sell you a product that's been tested. The design, anyway, has been tested that way, and it's a real number, and it's important for users to, I would say, if you've never slept on a mattress before and you want to experiment with it, experiment in safe situations to figure out what best works for you. For instance, I would say there's plenty of people who use 4 or higher R value, like an Xtherm, throughout all time. And when it's extra hot, they might not take it, but they also might just say, oh, I'll sleep in my sleep clothes and no sleeping bag if it's too hot. And then there are people who still are taking just X-Lights on snow. So an X-Light is a 4.5 R value. And plenty of people that's warm enough for, but there's going to be some people who it's not warm enough for. So these R values, you need to determine for yourself what's warm enough, but it is now a standard that a 3 R value from brand to brand should perform the same.
Yeah.
Did that give you enough?
Higher. Yeah, that's perfect.
Yeah. Our general, like if someone said, well, I don't know, I'm not doing anything crazy, but it's going to be 50 degrees where I'm at. I'm going to be sleeping on the ground. And first thing I would say, well, are you a hot or cold sleeper? Oh, I'm definitely a hot sleeper. I'd be like, you probably can get away with a 2.5 R value pad then. But if this is your only trip, that will work. But if you're going to do anything in the future, get something a little warmer. So it's like I follow the seasons. 2 is 2 season, 3 season, 4 season in general.
Okay.
Oh, I like that.
But
like...
don't, it's not the Bible. It's just something to
a guideline.
Yeah, they're all guidelines.
Yeah. I'm a cold sleeper, and I hate being cold. I hate it. And especially here in Colorado, I can get down to the negatives, and we'll winter camp in it. But
by the way, I love that you guys like winter camping. I do.
Oh yeah.
But you have to have the right gear, right?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, we did not have the right gear when we first started, and we were just I mean, you had like damage in your toes.
I had nerve damage, yeah.
Oh.
But we learned, so never again. We have all the right gear, but like the Xtherm for me, so I did the the X-Lite. And we took that through the Sierras in May when there was still snow. So we went through the Sierras. We didn't start the PCT. We started it March 6th. So we started early. And so we went through the Sierras in the snow. And the X-Lite worked great for me in the warmth factor. Like I was fine out there. But I got a hole in it because I'm probably a little, like I said, I'm a hard sleeper. So yeah.
And what bag were you using? A 20?
Oh my gosh, no, we got crazy. It's because of our winter backpacking. We were using -40s.
Oh, we were
Oh my
toasty.
gosh. Wow.
I was
Okay.
perfect though. I was
Alright.
like a little clam. It was great. I
There you
slept
go.
great every night. But those things are way too heavy for through hiking. And so-
Yeah. You
But-
learn.
but For a small like personal testimony, like even here in Colorado, we're out winter camping on the snow, and I still use the X-Therm with nothing underneath it, and then I'll just use my sleeping bag as a blanket.
Yeah.
So I'm not wrapped up in it, and it works just fine.
yeah, it's
Yep.
great.
Yep.
No, I believe it. In fact, in testing with the Uber lights, I used the Uber light at a sub-freezing. I was not on snow. I was on bare ground in a tent. But I wasn't toasty, but I'm like, yeah, I'm just at that level. This is a little sidebar that I like to ask people, and I think it's going to be different for you guys and your crowd of more through hikers and fast hikers. I did not like sleeping in clothes until I got into the quilt fad, or it's not really a fad, but because I actually love quilts and I actually haven't slept in a sleeping bag for a long time. But what I realized is, man, if I plan to take sleep clothes, it's an extra pair of clothes. I'm going to sleep in them, which is added warmth, and then I can just take a quilt. So that's kind of how I sleep now. What do you guys know if in your world are people generally using sleep clothes or not? Because to me, I'm like, man, I'm biased, right? I'm like, I think you should always have sleep clothes from now on when you hike.
So that definitely depends on who you ask.
Yeah, that's so true. Everybody.
Yeah,
does
I'm
it.
sure there's some people who just don't like to sleep in clothes, and okay.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we go through phases. We'll go through phases where we don't sleep in clothes and we'll just use a bag liner, or we'll go through phases. Yeah, she's acting crazy, so this will still be in the episode.
Okay.
Or we'll go through phases where we'll take sleep clothes with us, and we actually know plenty of hikers who hike the PCT, and they would sleep in their hiking clothes, which is pretty disgusting in my opinion.
Whoa, yeah, I'm sure people do it. I
Yeah.
wouldn't want to do that, but yeah.
But that's a great way to save weight, and I guess you're still maintaining like an extra level of warmth through doing that. But do you want to sleep in your own bacteria and funk for a week?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's all, we're all on a spectrum of what we'll put up with and what's important to us. So
Yeah, you're right.
yeah,
So that's kind of where we are with that. I think right now
Okay.
I'm in the sleep clothes phase, but
Okay.
especially because I mean we've been camping in Colorado, so it's a little bit colder right now.
yeah, that extra. Well, and two, whether it's sleeping bag or a quilt, that air is frigid, and you just get a little bit of like, oh, unzip, woo, that's cold. So I'm a fan of sleep clothes, but at home I don't want to use sleep clothes. But
Definitely love sleep clothes, even on trail, because you want those clean clothes feeling, because you're just so dirty and grimy and sweaty.
Yeah.
So these are like clothes you put on at the end of the night and you barely wear them only to sleep, and you've already like cleaned yourself a little, wet wipes. And
Yeah.
so for me, it was nice to kind of put on quote unquote cleaner clothes.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
we also have a higher level of personal hygiene when we hike.
we do.
We'll take wet wipes and we'll bathe ourselves at night with those.
Yeah. So a lot of people, well, not a lot, but some people don't do that.
right,
And
no, I know.
it's-
We've seen the mattresses come through.
It's
Oh, I
so
bet they're
bad.
nasty.
I bet they stink.
No,
Oh,
there's
God.
more than one time when I'll hear from the CSDS department, customer service, dealer service. They're like, yeah, we just threw this one away. Sent them. They're like, yeah. And by the way, this is an interesting factoid. Most coatings on air mattresses or anything air holding, so you have to put that plastic urethane to the fabric. There is a combination of your body oils that actually interacts with it, and it will break down. So it's a little intimate information, but there are plenty of people who will sleep naked on their, and sometimes direct on their pad. And their mattress will eventually break down and blister or come apart because it's kind of similar to hydrolysis. Some materials water breaks down and it just becomes like sticky. Same with
Oh,
urethanes. So washing your pad if it does have body oils on it is smart. You just wash it with a mild detergent.
That is so helpful. Wait, mild detergent. So you like
Yeah, even like dish soap or just laundry soap and just get the oils off of it and rinse it, let it dry out.
this is such good information for
that
a through
is.
hiker because we didn't know that. But I mean, we use mummy liners to sleep in as well. But this is great to know for people. This is very valuable
Like,
information.
man, you so nasty. You melted through your sleeping mattress.
Seriously.
What?
And I don't want to be cruel because I know people do this, but we'll get a mattress in and it's a fabric, right? Now some of the early Neos had actually a film of urethane on them. So if you ever had one early on that felt kind of tacky, it actually did have a film of plastic on top for grip. But most of them, it's fabric. So once these mattresses I'm talking about come in, like when the light hits off of it, it's kind of shiny. Oh yeah, and it's like the oils in it have created its own like material embedded in the you're like those are the type that are like I don't really want to clean that.
Oh,
Like give it to the new guy or the new girl.
Oh man, yeah, it's just
you're
like
just like, let's give them a brand new
Yeah.
one. It doesn't matter.
it's just I guess it's like somebody's old, like I have a couple old shirts in my garage that I use that don't get washed very often, right? They just are just the sleeve looks really gross.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
it is interesting though. Oh, and sunscreen. Or not sunscreen,
Oh.
DEET.
Bug
So if people are
Okay.
using insect repellent and
This
then
is
sleep
good.
directly on their mattress, that's going to damage it faster too.
Okay, that's really good to know because a lot of people use that kind of stuff for
Yeah.
the trail because of all the mosquitoes and stuff. And so people should be wet wiping just to get the stuff off of their body before
Or
they
at the end of a trip. But yeah, for through hikers, if you're out there for months, what I would say is if when you come into a hostel or you take an off day at a at a hotel or something, just give it a quick rinse and it'll make it last longer. Because I'm not gonna, who am I to tell people that they can't use a mattress however they want, right? Just to put a pin on that, this was like 10 years ago, or no, it was probably 15 years ago. My boss at the time had some lady come up to him and had this very problem and it was blistered. And he's like, well, how are you sleeping on this mattress? And she just very happily, just like, oh, in the nude, of course, And he's like, well, yeah, that would be the problem, but there was no, no like modesty. So,
super
Sweet
loud
mercy.
and proud.
But also, that's why you don't use DEET. Use picaridin or use pyrethrin instead. More natural
the
alternatives. Yeah.
chemicals. Are those forever chemicals?
No, those
Oh,
are
they're not.
those are the same chemicals that Oates talked about in the Sawyer episode.
and all I would say is any sort of chemical, if you don't know, presume that it could get in there because they're all organics. So it might not interact with it, but it could because I think it has to do with fatty acids. And so oils are fats.
They're all in a suspension of some type, which I would assume is
Ooh.
some type of fat. Yeah.
It
He's
sounds
in
smart.
ecosystem science, by the
Okay,
way.
I'm-
Like that's his whole world, is ecology and all that good stuff. So he
Well.
says terms, and I'm like, what are you talking about?
It sounds
Science.
really.
So very sciencey.
I'm more interested
Yeah.
in hearing what Brandon has to say than
Yeah.
myself. So there are the three staple mats that most hikers know about. You've got the X-Therm, the X-Lite, and then you've got the Uber Lite. And they're kind of like for 4-season, 3-season average, and 3-season like ultralight hiker in that
Right.
order. Is there a fifth pad
Fourth.
that you would recommend? Wow, a fifth.
Sorry.
Is there a fourth pad that you would recommend? And that can be a closed cell foam pad or an
Yeah.
inflatable or a hybrid, whatever.
I've worked here for 25 years and I am willing to say I have still not ever slept only on a Z-Lite. Because I started when I was older and I'll just admit it, I'm not as tough as some, but the Z-Lite, I think, would be the strongest pad for definitely for through hikers, right? And you can double them up, but it I would say it for plenty of people it might not be comfortable enough, but it's sort of a staple of protection. So that honestly is the first one that comes to mind for me for
Okay.
through hiking and heavy users. Yeah.
Yeah.
Question on this one. Okay, so inflating, you do have a pump sack, a
Yes.
battery powered pump, which we actually use that one. Love it. I would never change that. That's my luxury item on trail forever and ever. And then your lungs. Would you mind talking about these three or the lungs being a product too? But can you talk about these three different things that people can use to blow up their mat?
First of all, yes. When air mattresses started to come about, first of all, I'll go way back. Air mattresses were what people were using in the 70s. It just pool floats. And then the self-inflate mat came along from Therm-a-Rest, and they didn't need to be blown into very much. So all of this wasn't thought about until about the early 2000s. Exped came out with a down mat, which had down in it, and it was a no-no. You could not blow into it because it would damage or it would clump up the down and cause problems. So they had an air sac. When we launched our Neo Air, it's perfectly fine to blow up with your lungs, but the improved fabrics and everything made these ultra light air pads that were ultra thick. So now you can blow them up with your lungs, but it becomes quite a chore. So I would say over the past, 15 years, most companies have adopted a pump sack, and it's really just as much as not having to blow it up. That's what you're doing, is it's saving you effort so that you don't have to blow it up. Also, there is some, like, ideally you don't want to blow moisture into your air mat if you don't have to, because it can affect the R value for that night. But we have done studies. Moisture in your mattress will eventually dissipate out through osmosis. So, but it's just initially, like if you're blowing wet air in there, it might degrade it a little bit for its R value. So the final thing is this micro pump that is even more of a luxury item, and we're on our second generation of that. It's designed by a man, I think he's in Colorado also, who started it and called it a Camtech pump. And then we OEM'd it. So it was his pump that we put our name on for a number of years. And we came out with a new valve. He had some updates to make and basically designed the newest pump for us called the micro pump, and works great. And will even pull air out of your air mattresses. So those are your three options. And I think, it sort of goes, man, I don't know what the breakdown is of people and what they choose to do, but I use air pumps now, the pump bags.
Yeah.
Oh, the pump bags. Okay. Yeah. We saw people with air pumps on the trail, but then someone had introduced me to the actual like battery powered pump. And because I am the one who sets up our tent inside and he does the outside and gets the water and all that. So I'm like blowing up to Therm-a-Rest, and I was like, whoa, man, I'm so lightheaded. So when they showed me that product, I was like, I am done. And then we saw a lot of people just blow them up with their lungs because they didn't want to carry the extra weight.
One more thing, yeah.
One more thing.
Yeah, this is a mixed bag.
I feel like we've always felt that way whenever mats has started to leak air. Like it's just one more thing, one little nuance. Do you have any suggestions for detecting where a leak or a hole might be other than submerging a pad in water?
This is tough. This is tough.
Yeah, because
I would, if you can't find the leak, you're not alone. Even the best of us, even people who are good at it, sometimes just can't find a leak in a pad. And by the way, I'm going to become just a universalist with no brand loyalty and say it's like all air pads, no one's figured out how to make them so that they are puncture proof, etc. And I would say the key problem with air mattresses that makes it hard to find leaks is all of their surface is not flat. So the traditional Therm-a-Rest mattresses with foam, you would have a flat surface that you could look at and see this expanse. And when if there was air bubbling out, it didn't take much to look different. So when you're talking about font size, right? Like our eyes are good at detecting something different. Well, when we launched Neo Airs, it's a whole different ball game because the surface is just undulating along the edges. It even folds in on itself a little bit, which I don't know that Nemo or XBED or any of those other products have a whole like that. They're a whole lot different. So it's just tough. So the cheat is if you can get some kind of soap that bubbles. And that would be your cheat. Usually that's going to have to be at home though. So like dish soap, and then you have to look for the little, it looks like a spit bug if it's really tiny. Because usually in putting the soap on, you induce bubbles on it anyway. You're like, well, great, now there's bubbles that I created. Well, just wait. And that's usually your best bet if you have access to a bathtub and soap.
Well, that happens on through hiking too, where you do have access. But I didn't know about the soap thing. That's helpful because I've only ever heard water, and I'll be like, I can't find it, and then but maybe soap next time.
Yeah.
That's
But I want to be clear. Even myself have had I've had to go to again like our warranty repair. Hey, can you help me? I cannot. I know this has a leak. I can't find it, and vice versa. So sometimes, man, they are just a bear.
I actually have a hole in my Xtherm right now. Again, I am very, very must be very anyway, a heavy sleeper. So I've got to get that fixed.
Yeah, I was just curious because it's kind of disgusting to go and submerge your mat in a hotel bathtub and you have no idea if it's been cleaned or who's been in it or what.
True.
So I was just
yeah,
curious.
that's true.
That's good.
It's not ideal. The good thing is it sounds like most people aren't next to skin on their mattress, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will say when you do any sort of air repair you want to do to a product, so that it's air holding but has fabric on it, it's maybe not obvious that you think of it as if like all of a sudden you're like 1 inch tall and what that surface would look like, and what usually you have some sort of glue. What you want to do is really work the glue into the fibers. And when you're doing a repair, that's going to be your best bet to get a good repair. So
glue is the
in some cases, like our home repair kit comes with an adhesive, but something that I think people might not think through is that the fabric is still a bunch of yarns on top of each other that are just yarns. It's just like woven material that air can flow through. So the puncture is underneath the fabric. So you have to work that glue down into those fibers. You can't just like put a dollop of glue on there and put a sticker on it or label on it. You have to take it and really work it in there. Yeah,
okay.
It's like you're trying to saturate that fabric with glue to get down to the plastic.
Got it.
So that would be, if anyone's listening to this, take an extra minute or two and really work it in with a popsicle stick, a stick, or the end of the glue nozzle, adhesive nozzle.
Dude, that's so helpful. Thank you. I'm actually going to apply that for mine and see if it works. But now that transitions me into this question, and it's the customer service. So, and through hiking world, you have very little access to the outside world, and it's hard because you don't have a lot of gear stores in towns. And then something does happen. Do you guys have a customer service specifically for through hikers, that are about to do a long trail or anything like that? And does it differ from just someone who's not doing a through hike?
I don't believe it does differ, but I do know that it's something that our team is mindful of. I've been getting coffee and heard people say, yeah, this person we're needing to ship them a replacement to so-and-so because that's where they'll be next. So they do their best to meet those needs. The cool thing about our warranty and repair department is, again, people come to this company because it's already their passion, and they are sympathetic to people that are, out there trying to make some memories happen. So,
but just knowing that there's the empathy to through hiking, and knowing there's people in the company that are like, oh man, yeah, like there's a hiker that's needing a repair or they need a different Therm-a-Rest or whatnot, and trying to advocate for that is a huge deal on trail, because then you feel like you're not alone, with companies.
It goes without saying that I would say just remember they're just the messenger in a lot of cases. So if there is a bad product, and we all know this, but we've also all, I don't know about you, I'm not perfect. Sometimes I'm the grumpy person on the other end. What do they say? You'll get more ants with sugar than vinegar.
Yeah, that's it. That's it.
Yeah.
I know they try and get people what they want.
But also, if a through hiker is wanting someone to fix it expedited, they need to let folks know that they're like an immediate need and they're hiking a trail. People don't just know it.
Yeah.
It never is going to hurt to say, yeah, by the way, I'm on my off day and I'm not going to be on my off day. And yeah, let them know.
Well, Brandon, is there anything you wanted to close with before we let you go? I know we've taken up a lot of your time.
Yeah.
It's been fun to talk with you. We've covered a lot, and
we have.
Yeah, I'm glad for what you do, and I'm sure your viewership enjoys this sort of thing. I hope they do. And yeah, my parting thing would be, I don't know of an industry where, I'm sure there are industries out there in markets, but the people group of outdoor explorers is so cool because I do think people make it their own. And it's been a challenge and fun to hear how people like your product and don't like it. And you realize everyone is so unique in our market. People they like make it their own. And they have a certain way they like to sleep. They have it's fascinating, and I'm sure people love to hear. That's why I'm more confident that people love to hear these conversations.
Yeah,
and unfortunately get passionately mad when we say certain things. They're like, no.
Yeah,
my Z-Lite is super comfortable. You're just weak, and I'm like, I am, honestly.
I am, yeah. We like comfort.
We like our comfort, yeah.
Man, it's been so great having you on the episode. Thank you for joining us.
Dude, Brandon,
All
thank
right,
you
thanks,
so
guys.
much for taking the time. We really appreciate it.
All right.
Well, have a great
Thank
evening over there in the PNW.
Yeah, enjoy
All
the
right,
rest of your evening. All right.
Okay, bye-bye.
Well, everyone, we hope you enjoyed our episode with Brandon from Therm-a-Rest. We had a awesome time getting to just hang out with him, get to know him. And personally, I really love how much he asked us about just like how we are, these through hikers. So he's asking us questions about the products we use that he helps create and design and manage. And I just thought that was really, really cool. It's like, I guess our feedback and input really matters. And I think that's really awesome that Therm-a-Rest really does stand by their standard of wanting to know what you think as the listener. What do you think as the person who uses their product? So I think that's really cool that they do that. So Yeti Legs is not with me in the soundtro. Sorry, it's just me, guys. But we'll keep it short and sweet. So if you would like to send us any thoughts, any feedback, anything really, we love hearing from you guys. Truly, love. So you can email us at yetiwalksintobasecamp@gmail.com, or you can DM us on our Instagram pages. We've got the ginger_and_the_joy. Or we would love for you to follow our podcast, Yeti Walks Into Base Camp. That's where we really want to push everyone to there so that we can just release information onto that page. But we are super thankful and grateful for anyone that subscribes, sends us or shoots us an email or DM. Seriously, you guys, it makes all this worth it to me. So thank you. And shout out to Fire Once Lost. Thank you for your amazing song. We love it so much. Clearly, we still use it. And go check out his page. He's got some awesome music coming out. New releases, new drops. Well, I guess that's all for now. My husband's going to get this little outro in a minute, and he's going to throw it on this podcast. So we hope you enjoyed it. Love you, babe. Miss you. And I'll see you tomorrow, winky face. And all right, for those of you who are listening, as we like to say in the hiking community, happy trails.